May 9, 2024, News Report 1. On March 26, a video posted on the Chinese video-sharing website Bilibili drew widespread attention. The video showed a drone flying over the deck of the Japanese helicopter carrier JS Izumo. The 19-second video sparked discussions in Japanese society. At the time, JS Izumo was undergoing system upgrades at the Yokosuka base. The drone approached JS Izumo from the stern, flew over the deck, and filmed the ship's hull from close range. The video was clear, showing the deck of JS Izumo and the buildings at the Yokosuka base. On April 2, the Japanese defense minister stated that the video may have been maliciously fabricated. However, as of May 9, the investigation results released by the Japanese Ministry of Defense suggested that the video might be authentic. Japanese law prohibits the flight of drones over military installations, but when asked by the Liberal Democratic Party whether the Ministry of Defense detected the drone flight, the ministry refused to answer, citing national security concerns. JS Izumo is the largest core helicopter carrier of the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force. Being approached and filmed by a drone without detection has raised concerns and criticisms about Japan's security. Some netizens posted on Twitter that the incident occurred at the Yokosuka Naval Base, and the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force did not respond. The Japanese defense minister will provide detailed explanations on May 10. Additionally, the Japanese Ministry of Defense reported that on the afternoon of May 9, a Chinese naval intelligence-gathering ship appeared 140 kilometers east of Miyako Island and sailed northwest, passing through the waters between Okinawa Island and Miyako Island, and finally entered the East China Sea. The Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force monitored and tracked the Chinese intelligence-gathering ship. News Report 2. According to Philippine news reports, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Berganza, issued a statement on May 8 stating that there is no agreement between Admiral Carlos, the commander of the Western Command of the Philippines, and China regarding a new supply model for the Ayungin Shoal, China calls it Renai Reef, in the South China Sea. Berganza stated that the statement from the Chinese embassy in the Philippines regarding this matter is incorrect. According to Bloomberg, Chinese officials provided the media with a text record of a conversation that showed Carlos agreed to adopt a new model to supply Ayungin Shoal during a call on January 3 this year. This new model requires the Philippines to notify China 2 days in advance of the supply and only transport food, water, and humanitarian supplies. Each supply mission will only dispatch a Coast Guard vessel and a civilian ship. The records show that Philippine Defense Minister Teodoro and National Security Advisor Arno also agreed to this agreement. Chinese officials stated that this audio recording is evidence of the gentleman's agreement reached by Chinese and Philippine officials on the South China Sea dispute. In the past year, the sovereignty dispute between China and the Philippines in the South China Sea has escalated continuously. The Chinese government claims that the Philippines and China had reached a gentleman's agreement on Renai Reef, but the Philippine government stated that such an agreement was against national interests and was invalid. China subsequently disclosed a military agreement with the Philippines to prove that the current Philippine government was also aware of this. Berganza stated in the statement that the so-called recording by the Chinese side is not worth serious consideration, as text records are easily falsified, and audio recordings can also be deep-faked, which is a malicious influence of the Chinese Communist Party. News Report 3. Russia held a military parade on Victory Day, May 9, in Moscow's Red Square, also known as the Victory Day Parade. The parade lasted for 2 hours, with over 9,000 servicemen participating. They showcased over 70 types of weapons and equipment, including the Yars intercontinental ballistic missile and the S-400 air defense missile system. Only leaders from 8 countries, including Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Laos, Guinea, and Cuba, attended the parade, while China, Iran, and North Korea did not send representatives. China did not even send a representative to Putin's inauguration ceremony. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zakharova told TASS that Russia did not extend invitations to unfriendly countries this year, reflecting China's distance in this arrangement. Previously, reporters asked twice at the routine press conference of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs about Putin's visit to China, but the spokespersons of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs did not respond positively and chose not to comment. It is worth noting that during the Russian parade, Xi Jinping was visiting Hungary, which also led to some speculation. News Report 4. Taiwan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Wu Zhaoxia, stated in a television interview on May 9 that China has infiltrated two of Taiwan's diplomatic allies, but did not specifically mention the names of these two countries. Taiwan currently maintains diplomatic relations with 12 countries. Wu Zhaoxia pointed out that intelligence shows China is interfering with Taiwan's diplomatic allies, including sending extreme leftists to infiltrate these countries and create internal chaos. However, Wu Zhaoxia also stated that there is no risk of diplomatic rupture before the inauguration of the next president, Lai Ching-te, on May 20, but there are long-term risks. Taiwan has anticipated that China may take action against Lai Ching-te, so it chose to raise this issue publicly in advance. In addition, the chairs of the Foreign Affairs and National Defense Committees of the Legislative Yuan, held by the Kuomintang and the People's Party, respectively, will visit Taiping Island in the South China Sea for inspection on May 18, with no Democratic Progressive Party legislators participating. 20 legislators will fly from the Army's Pingdong base to Taiping Island aboard a transport plane for a military exercise inspection and to inspect the newly built dock, returning in the afternoon. News Report 5. During his visit to Hungary, Chinese President Xi Jinping held talks with Hungarian President Suharto on May 9. Xi Jinping stated that China is willing to deepen political mutual trust with Hungary, jointly build the Belt and Road, and continue to strengthen cooperation with Central and Eastern European countries. Hungary is Xi Jinping's last stop on his visit to Europe. Upon arriving in Budapest, Xi Jinping encountered protests. According to Voice of America, some people held a protest against Xi Jinping's visit in the square in Budapest. They wore Tibetan lion flags and shouted slogans such as, "Xi Jinping, go home," and held banners with slogans such as, "Dictator Xi Jinping, your era is over." Hungarian MP Timea hung a Tibetan lion flag outside his office on May 8, and that evening, Hungarian National Security Bureau personnel came to his door to request its removal. Timea posted on Facebook, stating that the Tibetan lion flag is not prohibited in Hungary and does not violate any laws, questioning why he was threatened to remove the flag. News Report 6. Taiwan's Liberty Times reported that Taiwan's President-elect Lai Ching-te stated at a memorial for his Japanese friend Yada Yoichi that, if something happens in Taiwan, it happens in Japan, if something happens in Japan, it happens in Taiwan. This statement was a response to former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's statement in December 2021 that, if something happens in Taiwan, it happens in Japan. This statement changed Japan's position on Taiwan, and the Japanese political community has been using this phrase to express Japan's position on the Taiwan Strait affairs. Lai Ching-te further developed this statement to, if something happens in Taiwan, it happens in Japan, if something happens in Japan, it happens in Taiwan, emphasizing the close relationship between the two sides. Yada Yoichi was an irrigation engineer in Taiwan who passed away 82 years ago. He constructed the Qianan irrigation system in Taiwan, which includes a canal system for irrigation covering the areas of Jiayi and Tainan. Therefore, Yada Yoichi is called the father of the Qianan irrigation system by the Taiwanese people. Lai Ching-te pointed out that when earthquakes occur in Taiwan, Japan is the first country to come to aid, and when earthquakes occur in Japan, Taiwan is also the first country to come to aid. Lai Ching-te expressed hope that after his inauguration on May 20, Taiwan and Japan can strengthen exchanges and cooperation in all aspects. He hopes that the factories of TSMC in Japan can become a bridge for economic cooperation between the two countries, jointly promoting economic prosperity. At the same time, he also looks forward to Taiwan and Japan cooperating to maintain peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. News Report 7. Susan Collins, president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, stated on May 8 that interest rates in the United States may remain high for a longer period, beyond market expectations, to suppress demand and alleviate inflationary pressures. Speaking at MIT, she noted that Japan's inflation has not slowed down since the beginning of this year, and it may take longer to bring inflation back to the target of 2%, requiring interest rates to be maintained at current levels. Although this may slow down economic growth, it is necessary. The Federal Reserve decided at its meeting on May 1 to maintain interest rates between 5.25% and 5.5% and to slow down the pace of balance sheet reduction. The market expects the Federal Reserve to wait until the fourth quarter to cut interest rates. Following the news, the stock market did not drop significantly as before. As of May 8, the stock indices have risen for 6 consecutive days, closing above 39,000 for the first time. The Dow Jones Index has risen for 4 consecutive days during this period, breaking through 52,000. Savita Subramanian, head of stocks and quantitative strategies at Bank of America, stated in an interview with Bloomberg on May 2 that even if the Federal Reserve does not cut interest rates, the U.S. stock market can maintain a bull market trend with strong economic support. He believes that future U.S. economic growth will be higher than average, with slightly higher interest rates and inflation. Therefore, the Federal Reserve is beginning to cool off the idea of delaying interest rate cuts. He explained that U.S. interest rates are low because China became the world's factory after joining the WTO, leading to a global decline in prices. The recent rise in interest rates is due to the decoupling of the U.S. from China, which has led to rising prices in the U.S., thereby pushing up U.S. interest rates. News Report 8. Bloomberg reported that recently, Chinese netizens have been able to access WhatsApp without using circumvention tools, but apps like Instagram and Signal still require circumvention to use. This sudden change has led to speculation among netizens that China has been banning the use of foreign instant messaging apps, and the sudden lifting of the ban is unusual. It is estimated that there are currently millions of Chinese netizens using WhatsApp. The Cyberspace Administration of China has requested Apple to remove WhatsApp from the App Store in China. News Report 9. Radio Free Asia reported that Guangdong recently experienced a major personnel earthquake involving the transfer of 2 important positions. First, Chen Fubo, the minister of the Guangdong Provincial Party Committee Organization Department, was transferred to Beijing to serve as chairman of the China Ordnance Industry Group. This transfer is considered very strange because it directly crosses industries and regions. Liu Shiquan, the former chairman of the China Ordnance Industry Group, was dismissed from his position as a member of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference last December 27. Although his dismissal has not been announced, it is estimated that he is under investigation. The second personnel change involves Wang Ruijuan, the minister of the United Front Work Department of the Guangdong Provincial Party Committee, who was transferred to the Central United Front Work Department as deputy minister, which is more reasonable as both are under the same system. In addition, on April 30, there were 10 bureau-level officials in Guangdong who were investigated simultaneously. They include Li Yiba, secretary of the Guangzhou Port Group, Chen Hongwei, general manager of Guangzhou Port Group Company, Limited, Wang Yutian, member of the Standing Committee of the Huizhou County Party Committee, Lai Wenhui, minister of the United Front Work Department of Huizhou City Huizhou County, Wu Xianhong, second-level inspector of the Office of the Shantao Municipal Government, Lu Changyu, director of the Shantao Municipal Environmental Protection Bureau, Su Chaolong, party. Secretary of the Zhuhai Municipal Health Commission, Duan Yufei, Secretary of the Guangdong Provincial Health Commission, and Su Qingfeng, Director of the Guangdong Provincial Administration of Traditional Chinese Medicine. The reasons for their investigation have not been clarified. News Report 10. Reuters reported that U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo revealed on May 8 that the United States will consider banning the import of connected cars from China. Connected cars refer to vehicles that can connect to the internet, including traditional fuel vehicles and electric vehicles, such as Tesla. This is the first time the United States has revealed that it may consider banning the import of connected cars from China. Raimondo stated that China has been investigating whether cars imported from China pose a national security risk to the United States since February this year, and the investigation process is currently in the stage of soliciting public opinions. She said that the United States is currently analyzing all data and will carefully consider before deciding what action to take. She also emphasized that the United States can take extreme measures, including banning connected cars from China from entering the United States, and may seek other risk-reducing measures, such as trade protection measures and technological restrictions. Earlier, U.S. media reported that Chinese connected cars collect sensitive data of drivers and passengers on a large scale, and record U.S. infrastructure through cameras and sensors, which may jeopardize U.S. national security. Tesla has also been under scrutiny for this, but has been approved after review. However, Chinese cars have been subject to security reviews in the United States, which has caused widespread concern.